Good morning, and thank you all for being here. As folks know, at press conferences, I start with first appreciations, and I want to first start with thanking our city department heads, especially our emergency management team, Police Chief Burke, and also Fire Chief Curtin. I also want to thank our RIB Director, Kelly Perkins, City Attorney Jessica Brown, and HR Director Lynn Reagan. I also want to thank our local partners, including the Burlington School Department's Superintendent Tom Flanagan, Winooski Mayor Thomas Reiner and his city team, and many other organizations in our community, because we have all collaborated over many months related to our preparation efforts for addressing ICE enforcement actions. Many of these conversations actually began weeks after the last presidential election in late 2024 and have continued, and we have all continued to work diligently together to protect and support our community. So thank you, all of you, for your help and your partnership. I also want to thank the Burlington City Councilors for standing in solidarity with my administration and for advancing a resolution at tonight's City Council meeting that affirms Burlington's values and clarifies our community's approach to ICE enforcement. When our legislative and executive branches speak with shared values, we send a strong message about who we are as a city. I also want to thank Governor Phil Scott and Attorney General Charity Clark for speaking out and taking action at the state level. Regardless of political affiliation, Vermonters believe in civil rights, human dignity, and the rule of law. Over the past year, Vermonters, especially immigrant families, workers, and advocates, have felt the effects of expanded federal immigration enforcement across our region and our nation. Enforcement actions have led to detentions that separated families and created deep fear, uncertainty, and real harm in our communities. And most recently, violent and militarized ICE actions in Minneapolis, including the deaths of innocent civilians, have brought national scrutiny to these issues and underscored how federal enforcement can escalate into situations that undermine trust and violate basic civil and human rights. Those events have raised urgent questions for cities everywhere, including here in Burlington. Residents are asking, could this happen here? And if it did, would our city be prepared? Today, we are taking clear, lawful, and responsible action to answer these questions. I am signing an executive order that outlines Burlington's approach to federal immigration enforcement and clarifies our city's responsibilities and policies per my executive authority as mayor within the city charter. Let me be clear about what this order does. It ensures that Burlington is prepared if federal immigration enforcement activities escalate in ways that impact community safety. It reaffirms that our priority is the safety, dignity, and constitutional rights of all residents, regardless of immigration status, regardless of race or national origin. And it provides clear guidance to our departments, especially the Burlington Police Department, about their roles and responsibilities. This is about preparation, this is about transparency, and this is about maintaining trust between our residents and their local government. First, this order directs our administration to update and strengthen the city's local emergency management plan in preparation for any escalated federal immigration enforcement activity that could impact community safety. This includes directing staff to review and clarify procedures for activating the Emergency Operations Center if needed, to define first responders' roles and responsibilities, and to update citywide alert systems and rapid communication tools. The order further directs that our federal presence in city buildings policy is redistributed to all employees and city contractors, along with the required training to ensure that staff understand how to respond if federal agents enter city facilities. It also directs the development of comprehensive internal and external communication plans to ensure residents receive timely, accurate information, including in multiple languages and accessible formats. And it instructs city departments to coordinate with community partners to identify services, programs, and resources that can support individuals and families affected by immigration enforcement actions. Second, this executive order clarifies the role of the Burlington Police Department. It makes clear that the department remains a locally controlled law enforcement agency focused on our community safety. Consistent with Vermont's fair and impartial policing policy, BPD will not engage or assist with civil immigration enforcement. City resources, personnel, property, and data will not be used to support civil federal immigration enforcement. Our responsibility is to provide essential services and protect community safety here in Burlington. The order also strengthens transparency and accountability. If federal immigration enforcement actions occur in Burlington, BPD leadership must respond to the scene in a lawful, non-interfering way, document what occurs, preserve evidence, and ensure emergency medical care is provided if anyone is injured. If credible reports of unlawful conduct arise, those reports will be documented, preserved, and referred directly to me as the mayor and also to our state's attorney. Aggregated information will be shared publicly consistent with law. This is about transparency and clear local oversight of our police agency by local elected leaders, not federal authorities. It's about ensuring our residents can distinguish between local officers and federal agents. And it's about ensuring that Burlington maintains professional, constitutional policing standards in line with our local and state policies, laws, and most importantly, our values. But let me close with this. There is no indication at this time that federal immigration enforcement activity is increasing in Burlington. I'm going to repeat that. There is no indication at this time that federal law enforcement activity is increasing here in the city of Burlington. But leadership requires preparation, not reaction. This executive order ensures that if circumstances change, Burlington will respond in a way that is calm, lawful, transparent, and grounded in our values. Burlington's always met challenging moments by standing together. We will protect constitutional rights, we will uphold the law, and we will do everything within our authority to keep our community safe. I want to say to Burlington, stay steady. We are prepared. Thank you very much. And now I will sign the executive order. I've not done this live action thing before, so we're going to sign it, and then I'll take questions. Is that enough B-roll? Everyone got that? Is that how you do this? Okay, great. Okay. All right. All right, so I'll entertain any questions if folks have them.
I wonder if, are you worried that this might make us a target of, federal agents or like limit funding in a way that the federal government has been going up against communities that are coming out too much in favor of their residents over ICE patrols?
Well, it's been something that we've thought about since day one of Trump getting again in 2024. We have been working very closely, as I mentioned, with community partners from the beginning, working strategically on ways that we can protect our community, be responsive, but also not necessarily create added attention to the cities itself. We are in a very different time now than we were in 2024, even in parts of 2025. And we have seen our state leadership stand to take a stand. We've seen our congressional delegation stand to take a stand. Vermont is well documented as a place that is inclusive and wanting to be a safe haven for immigrants and refugees. And so at this point, it seems very timely and important to follow many other cities who've been doing similar executive orders where mayors have that power and authority to establish what we will do in the case of a surge. Now, I will also say we took this even more seriously when Portland, Maine saw several weeks of a surge, and I've been in contact with the mayor there, Mayor Dion, and learned a lot about how that is different than Minneapolis. So we've been trying to have a very locally informed process, but one that also prepares and also communicates clearly to our community about what we are doing for preparation, how we're protecting folks, and most importantly, what the expectations are of the Burlington Police Department.
As part of this, is there a way people can maybe call in concerns, like a tip line or something? I'm only saying this because I walk around and I hear firsthand, like not only have there been cases of parents keeping their students at home because they're so scared about ICE activity, and I've also heard from some bars in the area where people are pretending to be ICE agents and yelling at patrons and threatening them. So I'm wondering if there's a way for that information to come straight in
Sure. There's two specific ways. So there have been rumors, and there have been rumors actually since early January 2025. It's very important that people not pass along rumors that are not verified. That creates more fear in our community, and as you were saying, it encourages people to stay home who feel vulnerable based on their immigration status or members of their household. So I encourage folks to use what have already been established in terms of tips or on rumors of immigration raids or ICE surges, which through our partners in the community, so either Migrant Justice or Vermont Asylum Project, looking for phone a friend. Vermont Asylum Assistance Project, thank you, Sam. It's because they've already established those kinds of methods. That's the most appropriate place for rumors. The second piece, though, if anyone is impersonating law enforcement, that is something that we take very seriously. And I'm sure if Chief Burke were here, he would tell you, and I'm here to say, that that is appropriate to call our Burlington Police Department so that we can investigate that and make sure that our community is safe. So that is an appropriate use. What is not an appropriate use of 911 or emergency dispatch is calling in those rumors, though, because we do not want to overwhelm our dispatch and make sure that the right channels are used in order for making sure that the right kind of response is activated in those different scenarios.
Is anyone from Burlington Police in the room right now? I guess what is their reaction to this executive order where you're directing them this move here?
So I've worked closely with my chief of police, Sean Burke, to develop this executive order. He's reviewed it several times. We've worked closely over the last several weeks, especially again after Portland, Maine saw a surge, to work on strategies of how we will respond. He has been very active in supporting our communication efforts so far, including reiterating our expectation of our police officers in terms of clarity of what they do in the field. They are required, for example, to state their name and badge if asked. We've been clear about the uniforms that folks wear locally so that people can distinguish that from federal agents. He's been a great and strong partner in the development of all of this.
How symbolic is this whole thing? I think one of the biggest things in Minnesota was, my understanding, the frustration was the local police wanted to help secure a scene or help with protesters, and the feds just took over because they were the federal government. How symbolic is this to show, at least from your point of view?
Well, this is a really important moment. I mean, this actually documents a lot of procedural things we are putting in place that are very real and very tangible for the city. An executive order is an opportunity that I have as mayor to put things into a transparent format so that it's all in one place, so that the community can understand, my department heads can understand, and that there is clarity directly from the authority I'm given through the city charter to our police department, to our fire department, and to other entities within the city. In terms of what happens, I think the strategies and the tactics from the federal government will continue to evolve. So we don't know what anything would look like here in Burlington, but we're particularly prepared now rather than standing this up when we were in the middle of a crisis, which is the worst way to manage a crisis and to keep a community safe.
Of course, your time as mayor, you've been very vocal about public safety and looking after the people that live here, have families here,
Can I have
kids
water?
in the school system.
1 second, let me just get some water. Is it behind me?
Yeah.
Keep going, thank you.
You've been very vocal about public safety and looking after the people that live here, pay tax money here, have families of generations that have lived here in Burlington. How is this another step to make sure that the city is looking after the people that live here?
So this executive order, to me, is an expression of how we really think comprehensively around community safety. That when we say all residents deserve to feel and be safe in our community, this is by extension what we're facing right now under this particular president. And I want to make sure that folks who are the most vulnerable, folks who are immigrants and refugees in these circumstances, really hear this from city leadership. We've been a very proud city for the last several years, for example, to encourage all residents to vote. We've changed our charter to allow folks, regardless of citizenship status, to engage in our local democracy. And by extension, this is the requirement of the city to make sure that all residents feel safe and that they're supported by local police and local fire agencies. And so to me, this is an important expression to not be quiet, to be under the radar about what we're doing quietly behind the scenes, but to be strategically verbal locally so that those members of our community hear strongly that this mayor and tonight this city council stand right beside them.
Can you clarify what the sort of limitations are on local law enforcement to protect or sort of step in front of any kind of federal surge?
So there are two main pieces. So the FIP policy, the Fair and Impartial Policing Policy, is state law, and that applies to all police agencies as a base minimum. And Burlington has that policy in place and has for several years. So that prohibits our local police agency from engaging in, cooperating, helping in any civil immigration law enforcement action by the federal government. Now, if there were scenarios where there were something more in the lines of what we saw in Minneapolis, that would be something that we, of course, maintain community safety. Police officers are trained to assess the situation and maintain order, and it's hard to do situational scenario kind of projections of what the city would respond to, but making sure that the community is safe, making sure that protesters are safe is the priority of the city, as well as making sure there's de-escalation and other proper professional police actions taken, which is what we should be seeing from all law enforcement, regardless of whether it's local, state, or federal. Those are professional standards that I think you talk to any police officer and they would expect and want to see by any colleague on any level of government. So we would have to wait and see, but I want to make sure that folks know that we are prepared and we're clear and we're making sure we're coordinating with state police for anything where we're less familiar, so crowd control, those kinds of pieces. And there's big open lines of communication happening right now between BPD, our region, meaning the county, as well as the state police.
There's been at least one incident about the ICE protests that were happening in Williston, where local police responded to kind of protect both sides and de-escalate the situation, but state police stepped in and made arrests. So is there any clarity here as to what state police can do if that's in opposition to what this order states?
So I'm not sure what happened in that particular incident and where the Williston Police Department decided to not take action or defer to state police. State police do have authority throughout the entire state, of course. But our Burlington Police Agency is much larger than Williston, and we have a lot more experience. I think that's not like any shade on Williston, but we have a lot more experiences with protests and civil action here in Burlington. And so our folks are very well trained with engagement. We saw probably upwards to 1,000 or so. I forgot the head count 2 weeks ago here right around City Hall around a general strike, a large protest. And our Burlington police responded professionally and appropriately with that, making sure we maintain safety, traffic controls, et cetera, because I believe it went on a march and then came back to City Hall. And we're monitoring the situation. We would do the same actions. And this is Vermont. I mean, I was raised by people who do civil disobedience as in their free time, my parents, so that's a shout out to my parents who always watch my press conferences. But, you know, it's a proud thing of Vermont, and I think most Vermonters understand peaceful civil disobedience, and most police agencies understand how to engage in such ways. So if and when we have to cross that bridge, we have a lot of experience there to make sure everyone is safe and treated respectfully. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Questions off top already?
You can do that on the side. Yeah, okay.
I just want to add just one super quick thing. The police chief couldn't be here today, but he is also happy to answer any questions about the executive order as well beyond what the mayor has covered. So he just wanted me to communicate that to the room.
Great, thanks, Jen. Okay.
Is there a copy of the executive order?
Yes, we'll send that out to the media right after this. Yep, and we'll do the signed version. So give us a minute to scan it, since you saw live action signing. Yeah. Great. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you coming.